For today's tag, let's do some building of layers. So I have some watercolor here that I just got in from Kelly Creates. I bought this at the American Crafts Vault sale. So it was on sale, and I'm pulling out of the package the yellow and orange. I guess it's deep yellow and orange. I'm gonna set that aside for a moment. I have my tag, I have some glue stick, I have a bunch of cutouts. This is a set called Parasol from Maggie Holmes, and I just took stuff out of the top package. I'm not even sure what we're going to use yet, depending on how the tag ends up looking, but I pulled those out to see if they would work with it. And the first thing I want to do is create a collage, and I'm using an old dictionary page here. And so I am just going to collage this onto my tag front, and then we will apply the watercolor on top of that to give it kind of a stained look. And I'm just using an inexpensive glue stick to kind of get us going in the right direction here. So we'll see how these layers build and what we need to make this work. So I just need a little bit more here at the top. Alright, and then I'm going to move that over just a little bit because I didn't get all the white covered up. Alright, and I need a little bit here. So I may find after cutting back that we need to add a little bit more glue, but I'm just going to go ahead and start. Alright, I think we're in pretty good shape there with that. And now what I want to do is I want to color. So I'm just moving this to see if anything's lifting terribly, and I don't see anything lifting too much. So I am now going to drop this watercolor onto my glass mat. I don't need a lot. I'm going to spread it out with water. Okay, so that was the orange, and the lighter one is the yellow. And now I'm going to spritz into this with a lot of water. And I want that to move around. So I may just take the cap of my water bottle, kind of spread it out there, big enough for this to tap into it. Yeah. So there, that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted to get a more colored look to the background. That's great. I'm going to go ahead and pick this color up with just a piece of cardstock, just so we don't waste it. We can always use this for something else in the future. Oh, all right. I'm going to set that aside. It has some scratches on there, which makes a nice texture. And then I'm going to pause here and hit this with a heat tool. For the next step of the tag, I went ahead and dried this piece, and I dried this piece, and in doing so, some of the glue lifted. So the first thing we need to do is go in and fix that glue lifting and set it off to the side so that everything is attached nice and firmly to the front of the tag. So I'm just looking for lifting up pieces here. I'm just putting some wet glue on it to hold it down. This is kind of my go-to fix, is to do it with a little nozzle of wet glue. I could go in again with the glue stick. I just find this works really well for me. So you do what works best for you. I thought I had a little corner lifting here. Yeah, I did. Alright, and let's just check this up here. A little bit of lifting, not much. Okay, I think we're good to go. So there's that. And then I went into my already cut out die cuts and found this Celebrate Today, which is actually a sticker I made. So I will link to the file for this. And I am just going to go ahead and now peel it off the backing. Just do a little bit of wet glue. Just an addition. I really don't think we're going to need it, but you never know. And then I'm going to stick it to this orange or this yellow page, and then we're going to cut out a rectangle, but rather close to it. And so I'm going to bring in my little paper cutter here, if I can get it in space here. Just line things up, and take off the edges. So that looks even. Put this away and see how that looks on there. I'm okay with it. It does look a little big, so what I'm going to do is bring in my corner rounder. Let's see, here we go. I'm going to use this one, and let's round these corners. And I think that will make the fit look better, not fill up the space so much. And then I'm going to go in with Distressed Oxide and age everything. But before I do that, with this flower, which I like, I just don't like this extra leaf on here. And so I'm going to cut it off. And we'll never know that it was there. These scissors might be a little too big for this operation, but we'll get it done. Okay, now do I need that leaf to tuck in somewhere else? I can, for sure, so I'm going to hang on to it. All right, but we're first going to go into our Distressed Oxide, go around the edge of the tag. And that's working really nicely with that watercolor. I love what the watercolor did on the book pages. There's so much value change in there. And then we'll go around this. And then we'll go around the edge of the flowers. I'm touching these gently because I don't want a real stark edge, but just a little bit. Just aged my fingernail a little bit in the process. All right, and then I think we are ready to put things in place. I am not going to use any foam tape to lift anything up on this. I'm going to go a little high on the tag with the sentiment because I have the flowers that I want to add in. I kind of want them to overlap like so. Let's find a really good placement for them before we put glue on it. I think that's going to be good. And then do I want to tuck an extra leaf in here? I kind of like it there. Okay, so that's what we'll do. And the nice thing about using wet glue here is that we have a little bit of wiggle room, which means I can tuck that leaf in pretty easily without having to worry too much about it drying too quickly. All right. And then just after going in and punching our hole at the top, our tag this week is done.